you were in a band, Gdansk?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's exactly how you say it.
No.
Yeah. Gdansk. Yeah, Gdansk, that works.
Did you regret, we'll spell that out for the kids at home.
G-D-A-N-S-K,
right?
Yeah, G-D-A-N-S-K,
It
yes.
sounded like a good whiskey or
It's a city in Poland.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my project. So I did that with
That's how I heard of you.
Yeah. As like a solo. Actually, no, it wasn't a solo project. I did most of the recording.
Okay.
And then had some guys play, like I had a friend play drums.
Like live?
Yeah, they played live. They played in the studio too.
Okay.
So I wanted it to be a band. It turned into more of a solo thing.
I think that's a good way to do it. It's pretty popular.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's hard to, I think when you can, I did all the demos and wrote all the songs myself and then wanted to get people involved, but it's a strange thing to have to ask people to buy into like your vision.
Yeah.
So and then also I was probably a little older when I started, and some of the guys in the band are a little older too. So it's kind of like, you don't want to ask them to invest into the project. And so I end up, you end up doing most of it yourself and taking most of the time, which is fine. Like it turned out, it was great. But that's where I started.
Yeah, and I mean, no, it is a good way of doing it because like I don't know how you start a band from scratch nowadays. It's got to happen in high school where you all have the same vision, you all have the same sound that you're going after, and you write together. Like, it's impossible.
It is, and I think with just like how technology's moved. Like the onset of recording in your house or recording in your bedroom. I think kids learn how to do that now. So they write their own material. There's so many people out that have these fantastic records that they made in their bedroom.
Totally.
But then they play live and you have to get people to play it with you. You know? So it was more like, I guess the idea would have been more like how Tame Impala does it.
Oh, okay.
So where the guy writes most of it, he records most of it himself. There's something he can't do that he gets somebody else to come in and play it. And then live, it's like an actual band, but he views it as a band. It's just kind of what they do, where he writes and records most of it. So,
well, it's kind of a good point. I didn't think about like the fact that the way it was done years ago was like if a guy wrote a song on guitar, and he wanted to hear it with a band, he would have to like find a drummer and a bass player. Now we can just there's actually apps that will put a drum and a bass to
if you
your
have
song.
Logic, it has that the new version of Logic has a drummer, or even like GarageBand.
And like iPhone.
On an iPhone,
the Memos app.
You can do. Oh yeah, that music memo thing. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, you can tell it what chords to play. You don't have to play an instrument. If you can sing a little or write a word, because you don't even know how to sing, you can just auto-tune it.
Why are we even here?
Why are we here? Why do we spend money on this?
It's so hard, I think, with bands and artists. It's like you can't put too much pressure on one record, and this is, I think, why I'm really into the home studio world and that kind of thing is in the DIY, is because when an EP or a record fails or doesn't make its money back, it's kind of easier to swallow whenever you haven't spent 10, 12 grand on it, right?
On just studio time or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
And that's not even including like PR or packaging or that kind of stuff.
Oh, I know.
And so I think what I've learned is that when you finish something and you put everything into it and it doesn't really get the response you're hoping for, instead of trying to like push it harder, I think it's better to just move on and just to make more music. And that's something like we're kind of an objective we're working toward this year is just doing more. And I think that I don't think there's too much. I don't think you can be too prolific, really. I mean, by the time it takes to make to make recordings and stuff, I think that fans out there are always looking for more. So I just think it's really important to kind of have these like mile markers in your career and these like things to say, okay, I did that. I regret a ton on that record. It's mixed poorly. That was a bad lyric. That was a bad take, all this stuff. But instead of trying to remaster it or find another studio, I think you just move on.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good. I think, and especially with the way people consume music now, it's always just like, okay, that's cool. What's next? Okay, that's cool. What's next? So like being able to pump somebody like Ryan Adams who puts out an album seemingly like every month.
Or used to.
Used to. It's been a while now, but
Taylor
Swift covers now. They're great, Ryan, if you're watching.
If you and Tim are watching this together. Where were we? No, I think that's what, to me, that's what I love about DIY. I love that when you have an idea for a record, I mean, I would like, it would really kill me to like, it'd be hard pill to swallow to do a lo-fi record in a pro studio. You know, like if you wanted to do like,
pointless.
It would be kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Even though it would sound great.
Yeah.
And we love those studios.
But even like, in the old days, that's not how people did them.
That's right.
Like if you look at
4-track.
Yeah, you look at anything that's like what are the best lo-fi records you can think of? Bruce Springsteen, Nebraska.
Nebraska, yeah.
That's a demo.
Yep.
That he did at his house on a 4-track Tascam piece of junk.
Yeah.
But he couldn't make it better in the studio.
Yeah.
Or like even I don't actually know how it's recorded, but I'm guessing at this one. But like even something like Neutral Milk Hotel, which is like a really important record for a lot of people. It sounds like it's done on a guy's bedroom 4-track tape recorder. It's just like crunchy and saturated, but you can't, you could do that in a studio, but what would be the point? You'd be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in those days to make that. Like it just wouldn't be worth it.
No, it's true.
It just doesn't work like that.
There's
anymore.
so much, and actually one of the things I'm kind of struggling with now, as people like you and I advance our gear and our ability, we ultimately, when it comes to mixing techniques and mixing gear, we are reaching for the things that the pro studios have and that the mega studios and mega producers have. But at the same time, we're saying that these home demos of Elliott Smith or Ryan Adams are the things that we love.
Yeah.
So why are we trying to make a record that's like LA ready?
I don't know.
Because we're not going to do that, you know, and that's not what our fans are coming to us for.
Yeah.
If our fans want that, they'll go get the new John Mayer record. But
that's true.
That's honestly, that's something that I heard someone say. We're just doing a kind of like a bad version of a professional job.
We're trying to, and a lot of the gear does that. Like what the stuff we were just talking about. That stuff is, you know, the high end is rounded off because it's crappy equipment and it's being saturated through a tape but all the stuff that we're acquiring now is really pristine.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
So then you have to, you know, a lot of the magic of those records is just kind of like they're haphazard and they just kind of fit in, or even like Bon Iver, like that kind of thing. That first record he did, he knew what he was doing but it was in a cabin with an SM57 and an M box pre, so it's crappy equipment. He knew what he was doing, but there's like the limitations bring like a sound to it.
Oh, totally.
So yeah, I don't know. Like I think there's probably in most people's heads there's two things going on. Or you're thinking like, yeah, I love that lo-fi sound, I want to go for it. But then there's always that thing in the back of your head that's like, oh, that could sound better. That could sound better.
Totally.
Which at a lo-fi record is like that push and pull. Like how far do you go?
Yeah, I know.
You know, how clear should I make this? Or well, with plugins now, you record it clean now. Nobody saturates anything when it goes in.
I know.
Because how do you go backwards?
Yeah, and I know, and I want to try doing more of that. I want to try doing.
I've been trying to.
Yeah.
It's adventurous.
Yeah.
It's easier to do if you're doing your own thing. That if somebody's paying you to do something.
Oh, for sure.
Like I had a guy in here last year. No, it's 2017 now, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yes, last year. And we were doing a vocal on a song, and he was singing into a nice microphone, and he was going through a Neve pre into a good converter, and I dimed the pre, and because it was a rock song, I dimed the pre and saturated his voice. And we recorded it. It sounded amazing. But it's something that I tried to do. I recorded a clean one too, so I split the signal and recorded a clean one. But I tried to do the same thing with the Decapitator, the Sound Toys thing. It just didn't get the same magic. Cool. But so like I think that's probably something they did too, is just committing. I find everybody does it the least they can do. And then you have too many choices, and then it just becomes...
I definitely, and I'm definitely against choices. I'm definitely against having, opening up your session after you've tracked everything and it not sounding good at all. And you have to make a decision on the amp sound and on the vocal sound, and that's problematic.
That is big time problem.
Yeah.
You gotta start working toward it, because you'll never make a decision.
Yeah.
And then you end up second guessing, and then it turns into a piece of junk.
Yeah. And I look back to it when you start. I think what happens is you make a lot of records, you start to have a lot of those memories, like you're talking about when you push that pre. And I think of like a time where I was working on a record and I quickly wrote a guitar part, and I wasn't going to be recording it that night, but I needed to demo it. Yeah. And so there were mics set up in the room, and I just armed a track, turned on whatever mic was closest to the amp, and it was a condenser like 8 feet away. Just played. The air conditioner was pumping hard. Played that part, and then like 4 months went by, and when we were mixing the record, I was like, "That sounds fine."
Yeah, it sounds great.
It sounds great.
I've done that with vocals,
and I have no idea how to get that tone again too. And
I've left MacBook Pro vocals in a song because the performance was amazing.
Yeah.
Because they weren't thinking about what they're doing. They're just trying to get an idea down. So it was like really loose and free.
It's totally funny. Troy from Military just showed me this demo.
Yeah. And
I was like, man, this sounds amazing. And he's like, I'd redo the vocals. They're just sung into an iPhone. And he's like, I didn't want to wake my roommate. So it's like, But because of that,
it's really quiet, probably.
Quiet, and it's like intimate. I was like, man, this sounds incredible.
Yeah, and probably because he did it quiet, the iPhone didn't compress anything, so it was probably.
Although I like that compressor.
Yeah, it does.
I do like it.
Crush
good on acoustic.
Really yeah, it does.
I've actually tried to figure out how they do that.
I don't know.
Tim, if you're watching, let me know.
So many things we want to know.
Let's check out some of this stuff.
Sure.
I want to get one of these so bad.
Yeah, that needs it works. It all works. It just needs
It's funny that
little bit of a tune.
A lot of them, they come up a lot.
Yeah.
I think they come a lot, but they don't come down in price, but there is a lot of them.
I got this for $300.
No.
About 8 years ago.
Oh,
we found it at a pawn shop.
Really?
On Upper James. My wife bought it. We bought it for her.
Yeah.
I don't think no, it was more than that. 9 years ago, we weren't married.
Oh man.
So, but it's.
Did it need a lot of work?
I gave it a tune. It could use. I got to send it in. There's a couple wonky keys, or get somebody to come out here and do it. Like that F sharp doesn't work.
Did you just buy it on site regardless of what condition it was?
Yeah, and it was fine. Like it looked good enough and it worked. So I just plugged it into like a little crappy PA there.
Yeah.
And it worked fine. So
that's amazing.
But other than that, it's such a cool thing. And you record it through an amp, it just sounds.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I just recorded a Wurlitzer recently.
Oh yeah, those are great too. Nice. I prefer they're different sounds, right? Mm-hmm. I prefer the Rhodes, I think, to the Wurlitzer, but
Wurlitzer's just so much lighter. A long time ago, it used to be like unadvised to use a TV screen as a monitor because it was like a lot of eye fatigue. Yeah, but that doesn't look really any different than.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I do it kind of like this, where I'll do. It took me a little bit to get used to, but I'll do the editing stuff on here.
Yeah.
Just because you can get it bigger. Yeah. And then I'll keep like levels bouncing on here.
That's cool.
It's not ideal. Like obviously, even the space isn't ideal, but like cool. The way it works is great. So then I can also like if I want to get plugins on different windows, I can drop something down here.
Yeah.
It is a little bit hard to go back and forth if you got to focus on both. It gets like a little bit like.
Oh right, yeah. This is a bit of a height difference.
Big, small.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it's been pretty good.
It looks cool. You know what's nice about it too is like if you were tracking across the room,
I can see what's happening.
See what's happening. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Yeah. So it has worked pretty good.
I would like to get. I don't have the space, but I would like to get a second monitor because even just keeping a plug-in locked in too. Like there's just a couple things like you could keep a tuner in there.
Yeah.
You could keep like a compressor on your mix bus or something open. It'd be kind of cool.
If I had the space, like I'd love to have two.
Yeah.
A little bit lower. Yeah. And then, have a tower or something and get that down out of the way or in a different room. But as of right now, this is what we do.
And so you're running off a MacBook Pro?
Yeah, MacBook Pro.
That's great. How much RAM is that?
16 gigs.
Oh, wow.
I think I maxed out.
That's great.
So, 16. It's like a mid-2012.
Okay.
So it
it's
runs
crazy
pretty
that
well.
Like, all of this stuff can run off of tiny little laptop.
It's pretty crazy. That's cool. If I get too adventurous, it can hate me sometimes, but... it's usually pretty good.
To me, it's like it's no longer an issue since track freeze. Like, that's just like
I do that all the time now. Commit to stuff, or
everything.
freeze it.
Yeah. It's so great because it freezes the UAD stuff too. I think it frees up the UAD DSP.
Yeah, it does
as well.
I have actually started, because I only have the duo core UAD one. I have started actually just committing stuff like.
Okay.
So
recording with it or just mixing and
I'll record with it.
Yeah.
If I find something I like.
Yeah.
If it's like just to get a vibe, then I'll just have a reverb and a bus send, and I won't record that.
Sure.
But I record with their compressors. I'll record a vocal through a compressor, like an LA2A. So I'll run
gentle, like just a little.
Yeah,
bit?
really not crazy.
Yeah.
Like what I'll do is usually record, get my pre-gain where I want it, and then if I'm gonna go in, I'll record the 1176, kind of light, like really fast though. So it's doing fast attack, fast release. So it's just knocking down peaks. Like maybe at the very loudest, it's gonna hit 5 or 7 dB in reduction.
Okay.
And I'll do a really gentle LA2A or the CL1B. The UAD one is really fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So just a slow compressor.
Yeah, the soft.
But it's all light because I might do more when I actually get to mixing.
Sure.
So it's all just like little baby steps.
Yeah.
But
and that adds up. I think that's better than just throwing one on there.
Well, and especially with digital, because like if I record something really hot, like compression wise, like that's going to be stuck on there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of compressors, I love that compressor.
It's incredible.
So good.
Yeah, the MJ?
Klanghelm.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's incredible.
Like $30.
$30. I know, and there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
I kept seeing people talk about that back in like 2 years ago, whenever it came out.
Yeah.
It was something on Gear Sluts where people said, "What's your favorite compressor, favorite plugin?" And it was like 85% of people were saying this. And I was like, I better check that out.
It's incredible.
I think people would say the same even if it was $300.
Yeah. Well, how much do you spend on the UAD compressors or something like that? They're great,
full price,
but they're like, this is just as good.
So I just got an Apollo myself. And what plugins do you like? What have you bought extra?
What have I bought? So I had a problem with this one when I bought it.
Okay.
So, and I sent it into HHB, the distributor in Toronto. So they went to fix it, and they took months instead of weeks, what they said, to fix it.
Oh, man.
So I had a loaner unit. I think I had like a Apogee Ensemble or something. So anyways, I complained to Universal Audio.
Did you buy it new?
I bought it used, but the warranty was still good.
Okay.
So, and because I bought it from Long McQuaid, they honored the warranty.
Yeah.
If you just swap it with a friend or something, they don't.
Sure.
So, but anyways, what they did is they gave me a year free trial of every plugin. Yeah, so I have for a year until about the middle of the summer next year. I have
every plugin
every single plugin that they make, except the new ones that they've released since then.
Oh, really?
So I don't have the
Zener.
Yeah. But the ones I like, what am I using?
Unbelievable.
Here? Yeah, so it's really fun. It's I can try
good for you
stuff that I really like. I really like some of the compressors. The CL1B is really cool. The Tube Tech one.
Yeah.
I love the what's it called? Summit Audio TL100.
Okay.
TLA 100.
Yeah.
That on like drum overheads or something.
Okay.
I don't know what it does, but it
check it out.
Pops like the room, just like kind of like it like glues everything together, and you hear the room it's recorded in.
That's cool.
Really cool.
Man, that's incredible. You get to test stuff without any pressure too.
Yeah.
You know, like
and
you can use it for a whole record.
Yeah. It is incredible. So it's been fun. It's gonna suck when it expires.
Yeah, you're gonna open up old sessions and be
like
everything is not working.
Buy some. So I'll probably have to spend a couple $1,000.
I had a coupon, and when I got it, and so I was trying to figure out what to get.
Yeah.
And I've been happy with my plugin collection before UAD, so I didn't feel like I needed much.
Yeah.
Somebody had suggested the EMT 140 reverb.
Yes, I have those. They're amazing.
So beautiful.
Yeah, they're great.
I loved it. So I bought that, and it was great. And actually, a lot of people suggested that when I asked.
The plate is those plates are great. I love them. I use the 140 on vocals all the time.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I really like the AKG Spring. The BX20.
I didn't get a chance to try that.
So I actually bought that one before I had this trial. It's fantastic.
That's cool.
But there's some cool ones. The The Space Echo emulation is really nice.
Right. So you must be like, you have a Duo?
Yeah, just a dual core one. Yeah.
So if you have access to all of their plugins, you must feel like you're maxing yourself out a lot.
I'm usually maxed, which is why I tend to commit a lot of stuff now. So if I'll, especially with like, if I'm mixing a snare or something,
right?
Like if I know where I want stuff, I'll just commit it.
That's
and then
cool.
I don't have to worry about it after.
That's cool.
So
do you do drums down here?
I've never done drums down here. I do percussion. If I do drums, I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I'll rent a studio. So I'll go to, if the budget allows, I'll go to a nice studio.
You could fit like a little.
I could. It'd probably be kind of cool and dead sounding.
Yeah, very dead.
But it would be, yeah, it'd be fun.
There is some stuff I want to talk about.
Yes.
But what's your favorite piece?
Favorite piece?
What do you love the most here?
Recently? I like it all. I don't know. Recently is this.
Okay, I actually wanted to talk about this. So this is like a for like mixing with guitar pedals, right?
Yeah. So it's you can use it as a reamper too. It's a radial EXTC.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So basically, what it does is you like if you're working in Pro Tools or Logic, you just send your audio to it, so out of your interface.
Yeah.
Into there, it comes out here at line like a guitar line level, and then you can run it through whatever pedal you want or a whole pedal board, and then back in record like a separate track.
And it sounds like nice and clean.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And so then the blend, what's the purpose of the blend?
I think it's
because like it wouldn't.
If you want to keep like, if you're looking to completely replace something, like you can.
Because like if you're coming in and out, you're obviously be doing it as like a send or a duplicate channel, right?
I've only recorded stuff completely wet.
Okay.
So just because I'm gonna take that track and use it like a reverb send in the computer.
Right.
So
you use it completely wet with a duplicate track?
Well, I'll say I'm recording a bass.
Yeah.
That I've recorded clean or through a DI.
Yeah.
I'll pump that bass out and then I'll run it through an overdrive pedal or something or a fuzz pedal.
Yeah.
Back in. So I'll get the signal like I want it. Record that 100% through that pedal.
Mm-hmm.
And then back into the computer and then mix it in.
Because you still have the original.
So I'll keep going in the computer. So I use the computer as more like a dry or wet control.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I wonder what the blend would be for, because most people would be doing that, I think.
Yeah, so so this is obviously post receive or post return.
Okay.
So it wouldn't affect the send, but then you have like a send and receive knob, so you can pump it really hot back into your computer.
Right. Okay.
Why, I'm not sure. Like you have to make up that much gain, but then the send, like if I'm sending something to, say you have like an old tube tape delay or something like that, you could probably drive it pretty cool.
So what kind of cool stuff could you do with that?
Whatever you want. I've used it.
I wonder what would be.
I have another one coming actually, so I'm gonna do I have a stereo pair.
Oh, nice.
So I can do.
So you could technically go through like an amp head or something too, even, right?
Yeah, you can run it through amp heads, you can run it through reverbs, you can run it through overdrives, delays. I want it for. I'm gonna get a couple more things soon, but so I want it to pump out to a stereo reverb.
Yeah, right.
So I want to buy one of those Strymon Big Skies.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I've mixed with that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then have the ability to, like, if I have a keyboard track or anything in stereo, even like overheads or whatever.
So is this using an input on your Apollo?
No, I run everything through a patch bay.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just pump it out through a patch bay and then in through whatever I'll bypass.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So do you run it right back in the Apollo? You don't put it through a pre afterwards?
No, you don't need to.
Okay.
So when it takes it back in, it's converting it back into a line, like the signal that is sent out.
Okay,
so
cool.
It's a line level. So then it's going to go right back in.
And is the signal delayed at all? Like, how do you measure that in Pro Tools?
Yeah, it would be a little bit.
Okay.
So sometimes I've nudged it. If it's a reverb, I don't, like if it's a really wet reverb, I don't care.
Okay.
Or if it's like a slap
on
a guitar, whatever. The bass, like if I do a bass with an overdrive, I will
You just visually nudge it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
You can, or do it till it sounds
so,
good.
Like, what would be? I mean, I've heard about this, and I love the idea because I could totally see the use in it. What's the difference to you throwing a fuzz pedal on a bass as opposed to throwing the UAD raw or some sort of like decapitator or?
Decapitator sounds amazing. The raw is cool for some stuff. I do like that one. To me, it's two reasons. I feel like, so if I'm running it through a pedal, I love the tactile thing. So in a verse, I'll actually roll the drive back.
Oh, cool.
And then pump it up for a chorus or a bridge.
Because you have to print it.
Yeah, right? Which you can do in the computer. That's fine. But I would much rather touch it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
With a mouse.
So, you don't have to explain the psychological element to me.
The psychological, sound-wise, it's just preference, I guess. And I have a bunch of overdrive pedals, I feel like I can customize it a little bit more, I guess, or...
Yeah, and I'm with you, and I don't know if I would, be able to pass, like, a blind ear test, you know?
It'd be hard, yeah.
But it does feel like the digital fuzzes are, to me, they sound like digital fuzz.
They get shrill.
Yeah.
They get really harsh and brutal.
Yeah.
So, but if you run it through this, it's running through transistors and resistors and, you know, depending on what you're running it through, like a transformer even.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just,
Man,
to me, it sounds better.
I wonder if you could take, it's a great idea that you're getting a second one, because now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like that's almost necessary.
They're super cheap too. They're like $320.
Right, yeah.
It's not that bad.
But like, I wonder if you could like run out to like a tape deck.
Oh yeah, and back in. Yeah. Oh yeah, anything.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, you can use it as a reamper too. So just send it out to your amp and then just mic your amp.
Oh, okay.
So that's all it is. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Is a guitar reamp
because it
box
has the blend
with
and the
with
receive.
a return.
Yeah. That's really
cool.
Which
a reamp box I don't think has.
That's really
so
cool.
To me, there's a bunch of cool delays and reverbs in the computer that sound really awesome and pristine, and there's some that are really gritty, like Echo Boy can get crazy.
Totally.
And, you know, but there's something about running it through a pedal, especially if it's like a digital track, like if you've got a soft synth,
right,
or a synth bass, or something that that's just started in the computer, drums even.
Yeah.
Like so if you record an electronic beat in the computer and not run it through any pre's,
yeah.
You know, I'll usually always spit those out through either through a preamp or through that, and then I'll run that through a pedal. And then it's just like you can either mix the signal back in, replace it.
I know what you mean.
It's just really cool.
I know what you mean. It just kind of like tightens things up.
It tightens, yeah.
Makes it authentic. And again, like I don't know if I could hear it in a blind test, but it definitely gives you that creative confidence, you know.
Yeah.
So this 1176, this is a hairball?
Yeah, I built that one.
You built that yourself?
Yeah.
Are you good at that kind of stuff?
That's probably debatable.
Were you? Well, does it work?
It does. It works and it compresses. It works and it compresses. Yes.
That's cool.
It works like it should.
So did you know much about that kind of stuff before?
I built a few. I built this fuzz.
Okay.
So that's like a ZVEX Fuzz Factory clone.
Yeah.
And I built a bunch of these Cappy pre's.
Oh, okay. Good for you.
So I've probably built like 6 of those, and I thought, hey, you know, let's try the compressor.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit. I really wanted a rack compressor or a real compressor.
It's nice.
So it didn't have to be like the full rack unit. I was looking at the 500 series ones too.
Right.
But it wasn't hard. It just took me a while.
Yeah.
Like it took me maybe a week of evenings to do. If that makes sense.
Well, that's cool.
So
what does it cost, like, when all's said and done, not including your time?
Let me do the conversion here. The kit was $550 American.
And you get everything in the kit?
Everything. Yeah.
And it comes from
except solder. Yeah. So I think they're based in Portland or Seattle.
Okay. So you said $550 US?
Yeah, I think all in, it might have been with the exchange rate like $750, $800.
Yeah.
Like that's with like shipping and then customs as well.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So
well, I don't think there is any 1176s for that, except for the warm audio, but not the blue stripe.
Yeah, but the warm audio is going to be more too.
It would be, yeah.
And it's a blackface one. So the blue stripe's a little bit.
I love it. It's unbranded too. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
it's beautiful.
I'm sure some people think that's cheap looking, but it sounds good.
No, I like that.
It sounds like a blue stripe should. I'm sure it's a little different than a real vintage.
Have you ever compared it with like the UAD
Not
one?
like the UAD one, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds just as good. It is I like it better. It just seems to make things pop a bit more, the real one.
Oh yeah.
So.
And you put your vocals through there?
Yeah, I use it for vocals, snare. I'll put a guitar through it sometimes. The other thing you can do too that's really cool is just turn the actual compression off, and it's a mic pre.
Really?
It's just super dirty, so you can get that really crunchy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I actually will do that too. So
it's really cool.
Yeah, you just turn it on if you want. So for vocals, I'm usually running it just basically like that, as fast as it can go and as fast as it can release. And then, having the input, so it's getting, maybe, there must be something fed into it right now. It may be like 5 dB.
Right.
That's about it.
Right.
So
that's really cool.
I'm not really doing anything crazy with it. I'm sure I can. So I can, you can do the all buttons in thing if you want.
That's cool. That's great. And so then I got one of these as well. Not the double, but they're really nice, eh?
Yeah, it is really nice. I do like it. I wanted a nice Neve pre. Yeah. Just for vocals and a lot of stuff. Like I was mentioning before, like it can get a bit mucky if I do too much of it. Yeah, I haven't heard. That's interesting. I should listen to vocals. It's amazing, unless it's like a really heavy, not heavy, like a really deep guy voice. I find it just gets like I have to really EQ it out if I want to use it. Right. So I don't use it much for synth or anything like that. I tend to run those through the API. Oh, okay. These are just a little bit more punchy, like in the mid range. Yeah. So it tends to bring the synth out a lot better.
It's cool. I mean, if you can afford it to get the double, because then you can put something stereo through there.
Yeah, it's super nice. Like I got a great deal on it. I was gonna get a couple of the 500 series modules, they're like MPL or something, the DAE ones. Long McQuaid had that on sale. Somebody brought it in used with the power supply for, I think it was $1,700.
Wow.
So
that's really great.
Yeah, so it was great.
Yeah, I think I paid maybe $13 for the single channel.
Yep. Yeah. So it's same as a single channel, just double, no EQ. I wish it had the EQ. Yeah, no filters on it or anything. I wish even the low pass would be. Actually, the low pass, whatever you can.
Yeah,
it gives it a little bit of.
I think it's like $100, $200 extra.
Yeah, we give it a little bit of like that bump on the low end that it does when you roll it off, but it's not essential.
No. And so you went from the Twin to the Apollo.
Yeah.
And you're liking that?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I do like it. I like the UAD platform. Like for my setup, it makes no sense to have like an HD system, like a Pro Tools HD system or anything like that. Yeah, yeah. So I like the plugins. I love the fact that it takes away some processing power from your computer and puts it on the chips in the units. I love that. The pre's are great. I don't use them a ton, but they're there. Yeah. The conversion is rock solid. I like the console app for routing.
Yeah, stuff. I just got one recently, and I'm kind of just getting into that world and trying to figure it out. It's really cool.
It's really quite awesome. Like I would like more. Oops. I like more plug-in power. Yeah. But so that might be in the future getting another, like a quad or something.
They're on sale now.
Yeah, I know.
$500, I think, or US. Or...
Yeah.
Did you build this rack?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Out of plywood.
That's great.
Nice and cheap. Bought the rack rails.
You know what's funny is the rack rails.
The rack rails cost more than the plywood does.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got some rails on Amazon.
Yep.
And they're just so cheap, but like.
That's what I did too, I think.
Yeah, and it's like there's so much more character in building your own thing than some of like the cheesy, really expensive racks that you can buy.
I hate those. There's some nice ones, but most of those like Argosy desks, or I don't know how you say it, like those like.
Oh yeah.
I just they just look plastic, and I just don't like it.
No, I like this.
I was gonna build a really nice desk with like things on the bottom and a place for a monitor and monitor stands, and I just didn't have the time, so I just threw all that in there. It cost me $20 in plywood, maybe, and the rack rails I got on for $30. Yeah. So it's just a really cheap solution. And then I can use it, you know, if I want to stain it or paint it, it will look nicer. And then
totally. The funny thing is that you can sell it for more than that when you're done.
I know, right?
Because you did the hard work.
$150.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's interesting is like, I know that this is like this is a family room, but I really like this. Like I've been to a lot of like home studios like this and little mixing centers, and it's kind of like a writing room too, you know?
Yeah.
And but I feel like I could work here. Like it's very creative. I like that it's kind of
it's tight.
It is tight, but I like that it's kind of workshoppy. Like it's you know, you've got access to all the pedals here and everything. I find sometimes like people in their home studio, they're a little bit too concerned with like a gorgeous desk and like lighting and all that stuff. Whereas like to me, this is like you sit in here, and we've pulled the chair out, but you sit in here and you've got everything, great gear and some great keys, and you just make something sound good right away.
Yeah, I wanted to have like this space kind of was. This is what it was. My son's crying. Like it kind of just, this is the only place it's gonna work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really feels comfortable. Like I really want, if I'm gonna be in my house, I want a place that I feel comfortable coming down in my sweatpants and working. Like I don't have to like put on nice clothes to work, or, you know. But it's nice. Like I can sit here and do my, you know, if I'm mixing or something, I do that, and I have, you know, decent imaging. And then, but if I want to do some keys, it's just right here. My, you know, guitar amps are over there. You know, I have like this little guy here that I.
Oh man. That's beautiful.
That's what I still use just for demo stuff. Like not even demo stuff. Like just really easy. I'll just put the mic there, and I can sit in the chair here, press record, turn around, do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So it really is very convenient.
Yeah.
So
it helps with the flow. Yeah,
it's not ideal. Like I'd love a garage or something, you know, be a little bit that I can get some more space and more gear.
I think it's good to grow in a certain. I'm a big advocate of that. I think that you've got to make a great record in here, and then you make a great record. You know, like you said, you make a great record with the duet, then a great record with the twin, then with the Apollo, and you just keep growing with that, with your own gear.
Yeah. We've kind of set out me and my wife have kind of, you know, talked through all this stuff, and you know, we're really trying never to be like in debt or in crazy debt. Like you have to spend money sometimes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's not like we're going to go and drop $100,000 and then all of a sudden go, oh man, how am I going to recoup that?
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
So it's you know, it's saving up for stuff, or you know, like the Prophet here I got at a great deal along McQuaid, but I you know, I traded another synth that's very similar but smaller in, and got just about the same amount of money back. So it's you know, it's just making smart choices, because I don't think you need, like with all this stuff, I kind of decided, I thought like, what do I need to make good music? Not what do I want, what do I need? So I needed a couple good pre's. I wanted an interface that did 8 channels or more. I wanted I wanted really nice monitors. That was what one of the things I really set out to do.
These are great.
Yeah, these are fantastic. They're really.
Let us hear it before we go.
Yeah, I really recommend those. But you know, just a couple different things. So that's a Peluso condenser,
okay,
pencil one.
Okay.
So that's like it's a copy of a Schoeps or Schoeps.
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly what it is.
I'm so interested in these guys.
Yeah, they're really great, and they're really cheap, like for the price. And then I also got a 47 copy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this is like the nice one. So.
Oh man.
2247. So
it's that whole kit too, eh? The power supply and everything.
Yeah, they're really nice. For the money, I don't think there's much nicer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can get thousands and thousands in. It's a couple thousand.
But it's people rave about them.
Yeah, like it's nice. And my thing is like, these are really nice mics, but like it's not a vintage 47.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not even like a Wonder or Flea or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just it's 85% of it.
Yeah, it's true.
But I don't think that's necessarily like.
And you're gonna roll off the other 15% anyway.
Yeah, and I don't think that you're gonna get.
Can I see the power supply?
Yeah.
And so, what do you use? What is that for? Is that your vocal mic?
Vocals. I use it for acoustic. I'll use it.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Use it on electric?
I never have. I should. Really quiet electric, actually pretty cool. But I use it for, what else have I done with it? I know it's not like some guys don't do it, but I've heard people using it on kick drums. I've heard.
Oh, on outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
A little bit back.
I could hear that.
Bass amp, that kind of stuff. So it would be kind of meaty.
That's cool.
But yeah,
I'd love to give it a try.
It's a super cool mic.
Yeah.
And then just a couple. I got a couple of those fathead ribbons.
Oh,
I think
nice.
You have some of those too, right?
Yeah, I got the same pair.
So
I love those.
Yeah, I really like those too. So they
love them for overheads and electrics. And
yeah, I use them for guitar. I put a 57 on, and then one of those when I get electric, and it's.
I do the same thing. I actually would like to spend a day and play with them more and try them in other places. Try them on acoustic, even though they're quiet. But
acoustic, they're very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool.
If you're paired with something.
Yeah, if you have the right pre, it'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool.
But yeah.
Well, listen, man, I won't keep you much longer. No. Thanks very much for taking the time. It was great to chat. I really do. You know, as soon as we came in here, I was like, I love this space. Like, I like just like everything where you need it, and it just looks like sometimes you go into a place and it's like this looks too beautiful for music to be made in.
Yeah.
Whereas this looks like.
It looks like you could write something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, man.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.